This story was once upon a time in the life of Z. There was my sisters and me would sit upon my father's knee. No rhyming intended, but it worked. And we would listen to nursery rhymes and poems instead of bedtime stories before we went to bed. And we probably did this for he would read new bedtime or new poems to us, and we would start memorizing them. So I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I'm going to read you guys, or basically recite you guys, a couple of my favorite nursery rhymes, and I'm going to end with a poem that is probably the favorite poem, and you may have heard some of these before, that's not a big deal, but you may have heard this poem. It's one of my favorite poems ever, and when I get to that point, I'll let you know. The first one I'm going to start out with is called Little Boy Blue. Now this is one of my favorite ones that I remember as a little boy. When I'm talking about a little boy, I was probably anywhere from 3 to 7-ish. Little boy blue, can blow your horn. The sheep's in the meadow, the cow's in the corn. Where's the boy that looks after the sheep? He's under the haycock, fast asleep. Will you wake him? No, not I, for if I do, he'll surely cry. This next one's Simple Simon met a pieman going to the fair. Says Simple Simon to the pieman, let me taste your ware. Says the pieman to the Simple Simon, show me first your penny. Says Simple Simon to the pieman, indeed, I have not any. Simple Simon went a-fishing to catch a whale. All of the water he had got was in his mother's pail. There once was a crooked man, he went a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence against a crooked stile. He bought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house. Old King Cole was merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers 3. Each fiddler he had a fiddle, and a very fine fiddle had he. Twiddle-dee, twiddle-dum, twiddle-dee, went the fiddlers. Oh, there was none so rare as can compare with old King Cole and his fiddlers 3. There once was an old man who lived in the wood, as you may plainly see. He said he could do as much work in a day as his wife could do in 3. With all my heart, the old woman said, if you will allow, tomorrow you'll stay at home in my stead, and I'll go and drive the plow. But you must first milk the tidy cow, for fear that she go dry, and you must feed the little pigs that are within the sty, and you must mind the speckled hen, for fear she lay away, and you must reel the spool of yarn that I spun yesterday. The old woman took a staff in her hand and went to drive the plow. The old man took a pill in his hand and went to milk the cow. But Tidy hitched and Tidy flitched, and Tidy broke his nose, and Tidy gave him such a blow that the blood ran down to his toes. Hi Tidy, hi-oh Tidy, hi Tidy, do you stand still? If I ever milk you Tidy again, 'twill be against my will. He went to feed the little pigs that went within the sty. He hit his head against the beam, and he made the blood to fly. He went to mind the speckled hen, for fear that she'd lay astray, and he forgot to spool the yarn his wife spun yesterday. He swore by the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the green leaves on the tree, if my wife doesn't do a day's work in her life, she shall never be ruled by me. There was an old woman tossed up in a basket 19 times as high as the moon. When she was going, where she was going, I couldn't but ask if for it in her hand she carried a broom. Old woman, old woman, old woman, quoth I, oh whither, oh whither, oh whither so high? To brush the cobwebs off the sky. Shall I go with thee? Aye, by and by. And then I'll save you the. Oh, I'll read this one. This is the house Jack built. This is the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house Jack built. This is the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the man all tired and torn that kissed the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the priest all shaved and shorn that married the man all tired and torn that kissed the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn.
User in your channel timed out.
That tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This is the cock with the crowed in the morn that waked the priest all shaved and shorn that married the man all tired and torn that kissed the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that Jack built. This the farmer sowing his corn that kept the cock that crowed in the morn that waked the priest all shaved and shorn that married the man all tired and torn that kissed the maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with the crumpled horn that tossed the dog that worried the cat that killed the rat that ate the malt that lay in the house that
User
Jack
entered
built.
your channel.
So that will get us started with the poems and stuff. And this next one, I'm going to tell a little story, is this next one it was one of our favorite poems because my dad actually memorized this next one when we were a kid, and he would love to tell it when we were all gathered at family get-togethers, or my friends would come over or something and be like, hey, I have this poem, do you want to hear it? And we'd be gathered around and he would tell it. Well, eventually we all pretty much knew the poem and we learned it ourselves, and we may have not had it memorized, but we had it pretty dang close. And
User in your channel is recording.
And with that, my sister actually memorized it and performed it at a storytelling contest, and she actually got honors or first place. I'm not sure what it was, and she was able to perform it really well.
Hey, wake
so
up.
This is my favorite poem in probably the world, and so I'm going to. I do have it memorized. I actually memorized it a couple times, but I memorized it for a college class because we had to do a presentation on literature. And this poem, I'm going to give you a little background on it before I tell you about it. It's called Little Orphan Annie by James Whitcomb Riley. And this poem was actually written about a orphan who came to live, whose name was Orphan Ellie, who came to live with James Whitcomb Riley when he was a kid, and she came and helped their family, and basically she worked there so she could live there. And this was about in 1850 that this took place, and much later he wrote this poem about her. So, just a second. Alright, so this is my favorite poem in the whole world. Little Orphan Annie comes to our house to stay, and wash the cups and saucers, and brush the crumbs away, shoo the chickens off the porch, and dust the hearth and sweep, and make the fire and bake the bread, and earn her board and keep. And all of us other children, when the supper things is done, we sat around the kitchen fire and had the mostest fun, and listened to the witches' tales that Annie tells about. And the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. Once there was a little boy who wouldn't say his prayers, so he went to bed at night away upstairs. His mammy heard him holler, and his daddy heard him bawl. And when they turned the kivers down, he wasn't there at all. And they seeked him in the rafter room, the cubby hole and press. They seeked him up the chimney flue, and everywheres, I guess. But all they ever found was his pants round about, and the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. And one time, a little girl who'd always laugh and grin and make fun of everyone and all of her blood and kin, and once when there was company and old folks were there, she mocked them and she shocked them, and she said she didn't care. And this she kicked her heels and turned to run and hide. There were two big black things standing by her side, and they snatched her through the ceiling before she knew what she was about. And the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. And little Orphan Annie says, when the blaze is blue, and the lap wick sputters, and the wind goes woo, and you hear the crickets quit, and the moon is gray, and the lightning bugs and dew is all squelched away, you better mind your parents and your teachers, fond and dear, and cherish them that love you, and dry the orphan's tear, and help the poor and needy ones that cluster all about, and the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. Now I ended with that one. That's a tradition in my family, and I'm happy that I was able to share it with you guys. And as I'm telling you about bedtime stories, as story time with Z, I thought you could have a little understanding what story time was in my household growing up and what it consisted of nursery rhymes and poems. So that tonight is story time with Z.